What's going on, everybody? It is Cam here with Easy Work Acres out at the Amazon greenhouse for a 1-month follow-up. And I feel like we are the perfect people to do a 1-month review on this thing because we live in Kentucky where the weather can go through all 4 seasons and all 16 types of disasters in a week span. So we have went through a blizzard. We've had like a full-blown like tornado type windstorm already. We've had a couple storms. We've had both really cold weather and weather that is in the upper 60s, all basically within this last month. So we've had all types of weather, and there's some pros and cons so far. Some of them were my personal mistake, but overall, this greenhouse has actually held up really, really well. And by the way, if you were wondering why I have random trash cans out here, that's where I keep all my feed, in those cans. But this is the Quick Tent brand. This one specifically, I got it because the cover is apparently a lot better than the other ones. Some other ones I've seen where they have like flaked apart and stuff like that. And everybody that has had this one in the reviews on Amazon has had it for years, and this thing is held up. So first off, I wanted to go over its durability, which so far, the cover wise, everything's great. Something that somebody commented in my last video is how the windows held up, because they have one that's similar, different brand. The windows didn't hold up. These windows have held up great. The Velcro holds really, really well. It's full length Velcro across all edges, so it is held strong. The wind doesn't blow through it or rip it loose or anything like that. So far, windows have done great. Now, if you look in here, I don't know if you can tell from the camera angle or whatever, but this has shifted a little bit. There's a little lean to that center post. Now, the reason this happened is actually my fault. It was a windstorm, and I forgot that I did not come out here and close this door for that windstorm. So obviously, I left it open to be a huge catch for wind. And luckily, this thing still held strong. I mean, it stayed where it's at. It shifted a little bit, it did move, but it stayed strong, and it did well. Now, something I wanted to say about my build and what I did to modify this is down here at the bottom, and I'll see if I can move it. Right here, you can see, I banded it here. One thing is this can slide up and down that pole. So a modification that I'm going to make is to band this thing around that base frame too, that bar that goes horizontally right here. Sorry, I had to get the kids away from a chicken that is molting that they assume was a baby chicken, and they kept trying to like chase it down and pick it up. I had to let them know that's not gonna feel too great to the chicken. So anyways, we are going to add pins on the horizontal bars here. So I have them on the verticals, but I need to put a couple around the outside on the horizontals just to make sure that this thing doesn't have the ability to slide up the vertical poles. And again, that's an easy fix, like 4 of those little brackets, 1 in each corner, maybe 1 in the middle by the door. So like, for example, like right here, open bar, just slap one on right there to attach it, and then it can't slide up. But for the most part, if I hadn't have left the door open on that windy day, then this wouldn't even have been an issue to begin with, probably. It was like 40-mile-an-hour winds when it happened. But with that being said, the cover held up great. The cover held up strong. I mean, I basically created like a giant freaking umbrella for this thing to catch wind and left the door open. And it held up great. No tears, no pulls, no nothing. The windows look good. All the squares look good and everything. And I'm pretty happy with it. Now, since that last video, we did add more nesting boxes down this side and over here. The chickens have taken to them well. We had these like sheets of plywood on top to block off the nesting boxes, because once we moved them in here, they were pretty bad about sleeping in the nesting boxes. So we're trying to train them to stop doing that. The roosting poles, we had to add an additional one for the amount of chickens we have in here to create room for them. I'm gonna need to add more bedding in soon. It's been a couple weeks, and I think it's time to start putting on a whole nother layer of wood chips. And then lastly, the feeder has been great, which it did on our last coop, but that water barrel, that was like a huge thing for me, is hopefully this was gonna keep the water from freezing, and it has done exactly that. It has been great for keeping the water from freezing. It's one less chore that I have to worry about every day. The only time that it froze, and this was before the barrel was in there, it was just water buckets, because I didn't get the barrel moved over before the freezing temperatures got here, is when it was like -6 outside, there was still some frozen water in here. But once it got above 0, I've had 0 problems with water freezing, so I don't have to worry about that as a chore. So overall, this thing has worked really, really well. Like I said, it's the Quick Tent brand. I mean, you can choose whatever brand you want, but I would deeply look into the reviews, because the reviews seemed all over the place on a lot of different ones, and this one consistently with modification like this, like the framework at the bottom and stuff. The cover and everything held on really well, and held together really well. I think one of the biggest problems with a lot of them is just the covers weren't good quality. But this one has been great. For the last month or so, nothing looks deteriorated, and it was left open in a windstorm and didn't tear. So I'm pretty happy with the purchase. So hopefully this helped you decide on if you want to get something like this or build your own. There was lots of comments in a previous video, in my last video, talking about ways to winterize that one a little better that I'm definitely going to take advantage of next season. So thank you guys for those suggestions. And we'll use this for a lot of things. We're probably going to brood some chickens in it. We might do some starter plants in it. We might do a bunch of stuff in it, but this was a test trial, and so far it has stood the test. So that's all I got for you today. Hopefully this was helpful. You guys have a great day. Like and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.